Go.
Alright. Well, alright, so today we're going to be working on a
2011 Hyundai Tucson.
2011 Hyundai Tucson and whatnot on the rear brakes. We already did the yellow side and replaced the pads and rotors. Whatnot. However, on this side we have to not only replace pads and rotors, we also have to replace the caliper due to the customer complaint that it's sticking and lagging at the same time. So we have to take that off and replace it. So there's going to be a couple of pauses in the video while I go through, take these things off, but I'll also go back and show you exactly as to what you have to do to take each individual part off. For instance, on this, we have our 2 set screws. Most vehicles has those set screws, and when you do, sometimes all you have to do, if they do not want to come out, all you have to do is just take a small drill and just drill them straight out. That's it. Otherwise, you just need a Phillips or a flathead, either or, and they'll just come straight out. Those are not essential. They just keep this from your disc, your rotor hub from not moving. Also, with some of them, you'll see that there's a rubber garment here with a flat end on it. That right there is to help maneuver your parking brake. So pause. Daddy has to play.
Go.
So for those of you who are not mechanically inclined, he's going to show you which bolts you will need to take off the bracket and the caliper itself from the rotor.
Get the overhead light, the string light. All right, so with all calipers, whether it's front brakes or rear brakes, they're all pretty much set up the same way. This right here is your bracket. This is the main caliper. What we're going to do, to make this nice and simple, we're going to take off the bracket bolt, which is here, and one on the exact same side on the back. We're going to take those off first. After we take those off, we're going to work on the caliper bolts. This one's very unique. Along with it being the type of car it is, we have to take this right here and loosen it up just to get to the caliper bolt, which is directly behind right here. So at that point, we'll get back to it and show you what we do next.
Hang on.
You want me to hop under there and you hold the light?
No. This part I can do okay. Don't let me forget I got this sitting here. Otherwise, I'll go to work tomorrow without a license.
Also, explain to them roughly what size bolts or tools they might need, just so it's one shot.
Okay.
So, talking about changing the bracket, these here and the sizes.
Oh, okay.
We're rolling.
Okay. So, when we take off the caliper bracket, we're going to be removing these 2 right here. These are typically a size 14 socket or wrench. You can use either or. Also, the caliper bolts themselves are going to be a wonderful 9/16 on these, which is you can either use a socket or a wrench, either or. And then to take off the torsion bar here, we're going to need a 19mm socket that goes out here. Sometimes while taking these off, you have to have a second either socket or wrench on the other side to keep it from moving. So you may have to use both the tools, but sometimes you can get away with only one. Now when you take this off, after you take off the bolt, you'll be checking to see if the rubber bushings are perfectly fine. If they're dry rotted or really cut up, that means they need to be replaced, and that on this one right here looks like it's going to need to be replacing soon, so that'll be a different story later. So we're going to take this all off. After we take it off, I'll show you exactly how it all came off after I get everything taken apart. And we'll go at this one step at a time. Here, go ahead and pause it. also mention that kind of a trick on that on there too.
I'm recording the whole damn thing.
Oh, you are? What? Oh, so good. What? You know that? Ah.
No swearing.
Huh?
No swearing.
Ah. It's not mechanic work if you're not swearing. So, but as you saw whatnot, sometimes you need another wrench on top of a socket whatnot just to get that extra leverage to come off, for it to come off.
You might take the rubber mallet and you're gonna tap it right here to get it off.
Yeah.
Just lightly.
There we go. And it comes off nice and easy. Why not? Alright, go ahead and go up front and hit the brakes. Why not? And we'll see if this is actually sticking or not. Alright, right now it's all the way out. No, not all the way, but it's a decent amount out. Usually when it sticks, you won't really see this right here move where the piston is.
Is your master cylinders open or closed?
I don't know.
If it's open, he's gonna make a mess on the ground.
Hey, Jeff.
What?
Make sure you cover the master cylinder. That's a good point. That's another good point. Always make sure that when you're doing this, always remember if the master cylinder brake chamber, brake fluid collector is either covered or uncovered. When you're testing things like this, always cover it. When you're pushing the cylinder back, the piston back into the caliper, make sure it's undone so that it has all that extra space and you can push all that air back out. All right.
Good.
Yeah. So we're going to see if this actually moves or not. Did you press the brake?
Yeah.
It didn't move at all. So that means this is our bad one, which means it's stuck in one position, and we'll also see the same the evidence when we take the pads off too. So we'll put that over there. Why not? So we'll switch it up. Why not? So we're gonna have to take the torsion bar off next. Why not? With this, why not? These are really torqued on there, so we're gonna use this and a 3-foot pole. Why not?
Cheater bar.
Cheater bar. Why not? I call them a pole. Others call it cheater bars. Why not? I just call it something you can hopefully not hurt yourself with. So just pull up. And as it goes, as you turn it, why not, you always check. Now here's a good example. Why not? This one, it's moving on the opposite side. So while we're using this, which is a 19, we take our 19 wrench and shove it on this side to make sure it doesn't move. Alright, go ahead. And be careful when you're doing this that you don't squish your fingers. Wait. Alright, go.
Why don't you change position where you're holding up against the
because you don't want to do that, because if you have this going up against this, you're going to damage your dust plate here. And you can't really have it on here, because if you put it on here, you won't have enough leverage, enough space to get it off. So, alright, go ahead. Keep moving backwards.
Okay, ready?
Alright, let go. Go ahead. Now, if you have to actually let it go up against the, if you don't have help like I do, right, and you have to put up against the dust guard, why not? Just be very careful as to how much extra pressure you put onto it. Alright, go ahead. Alright, so while you're putting pressure on it, you just monitor and make sure that you're not bending it. Alright, like right now, we're not bending it at all, right? Nor are we denting it. So when we put on the new hub, the rotor hub, why not? It won't do it. It ain't going to damage anything. Now, when we did this on the driver's side, we didn't have to do this. So that just tells you how stuck it is. Alright, now before we do anything else, we need a jack. We need to use the jack. The reason we're using the jack is so that we support this whole arm here. Because this right here is part of the whole suspension, so we have to support it so that it's lifted up, and this comes off nice and easy. Too.
There you go.
Sure it's tight. Up. And also, when you do your use jacks, always make sure that when they go up, they are not going to go up crooked or sideways, because if so, you're liable to bend and hurt, destroy your jack. There we go. Now it's nice and even. Decent amount of pressure is off. We're going to take the nut here, flip it around. We're doing that, one, to protect the nut on this side where we actually use to unscrew it and screw it on. And it gives us a nice way where we don't damage the threads. So we're going to take a regular hammer. You can use almost any hammer you have on hand. Just don't use a rubber mallet, because we've already torn ours apart on that one, or at least torn it up. So, well, that was nice and simple.
A lot easier than before.
Well, it got all the way to that point. Alright, so now we just need an extension. Like I said, a little 3/8 extension will work. Just put it on the end here.
Be careful.
Be careful. Just tap it out. Now here's the other interesting part. We released it at this part, right?
What?
You put it all the way down, right?
Yeah, we put it all the way down.
At this point now, you can actually release it and put it all the way down so you can get this bolt out.
But still kept it.
So, sorry.
Can you try it?
Yeah, you got it out last time.
Jack it up more.
Here we go. Or do we actually have to pound it back in there?
Nope. So you have to wiggle it a little bit, because it will go against this bar right here. Sometimes jacking up a little bit more. As always, be cautious of how far you go. Can help.
Is it stuck?
It's stuck. Where's the extension?
There's the extension.
As I grab for the rubber mallet.
There we go.
And that takes care of that. Now we just leave it like this, and you can continue with doing the brake job.
Yeah. And you also need a hammer to hammer this out of place.
We're going down again.
Yep. We're going down on that one. Now it's loose. Right.
So now, just carefully move it aside, and you can get to this bolt right here. That's the other bracket bolt that you need to get to.
Yep. Alright, so grab the... Put that in there. Fancy.
Hmm? You want to come over here and hold this down like last time?
Yeah, I'll hold it down.
Careful.
I know, be careful of the jack and all that goofy stuff.
So in this case, we used PB Blaster in the last one.
Yeah, we used PB Blaster on the last one. On it.
Where's it at?
On the other side of the car.
Okay, so for this, you want to make sure you have safety glasses, because you never know
Where are we at?
with the side spray from the bottle.
Hang on.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah.
There.
You good down there?
Yeah.
Alright.
Don't worry about me.
So what I do, even though I got
Wasn't
glasses,
gonna.
even though I got glasses on, I still shield my face, and still. Okay. Give that a few moments. What this does is it helps.
Now, where exactly is this bolt that you're squirting? Because I'm not seeing much of anything.
So this
Ouch.
bolt that we're talking about is right here. This is the bolt.
Hang on.
There you go.
So this is the bolt we're talking about that we're trying to get off. That is stuck behind the torsion bar.
It's all blurry.
You're too close.
Ready?
Hold on a second.
If you want to hold it and
There we go. Yeah.
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah.
better.
All right.
Good.
So that the bolt that we're talking about is right there. Right where the fingers are. So right up there.
Let's see if I can
I
get
don't know.
So right here.
Oh, there we go.
There's a little guy.
So it's this bolt right here. This is what's giving us the most trouble right now because we have to take this off. But we just put PB Blaster on here. That'll help get it unstuck from being on there too long. Let's try this again.
Did it come off?
Yay. At some point, you're going to be able to kind of twist it by hand or not. Depends on how
Stubborn
it is. What I do is I use the bolt itself to help, or the socket to unscrew it. And there's that one. Then you just repeat the same process for the top bolt, and then this will simply come off.
Now, little helpful safety tip also on that, or just a general tip. When you're taking off the top one, sometimes you can leave the bottom one on, but just on a little bit so it's holding it in place, so that when you're, and you'll see it when he starts turning that thing, the whole thing's going to want to go up and over,
Or not. See how it's starting to want to go up and over?
Right.
Starts to have more movement. That's when you want to try lightly or slightly put it back in, just to keep the
Thing from moving.
bracket from moving.
Yes.
And just like that,
That comes off.
bracket comes off. I know, I'm just... Here.
Alright, recording again?
Yep.
Alright, so as you saw when out with the caliper, it didn't move at all. So you can easily see just by how the thickness on these are as to why it's not moving.
This might be better in the sunlight.
Yeah. So since both pads are a different size, and you can also see right here it's being just worn out, whatnot, and it's just crumbling, whatnot. That just means it's not working at all. Even here, whatnot, you can see how bad it is. So we're going to replace these. We're going to replace the shims, Why not? We're going to grease up the shims, and also take our wire wheel and just wire wheel it out. Why not? Make sure it's all nice and.
Bracket also.
I know what I'm talking about. No, if you don't have a new bracket and you're just reusing it, right? Why not? We're replacing the caliper one out, which also has a new bracket with it. But most times, sometimes you don't get all of it in one spot, in one shot. So if you're just replacing it and replacing just these, this is about where you're good at. You just have to replace the shims, replace these, get some grease, and just grease these up. And if you really want to be thorough. That's it, thorough. But you can take a wire wheel and just wire wheel up everything and make it look nice. And that's about it. For these right here, and also to check to see if your bracket's good. These right here are your sliders. If you're able to do this by hand, they're perfectly fine. Now if you want to if you really want to make sure that they're good, you can see as to where all this grease is. You can take these off of here and just get some grease and just grease these up and put them back in. Get that rubber boot back on, and boom, you're good to go. So now we're going to work on taking off the old caliper that's busted, and replacing it with a new one and going from there. Why not? What?
It's amazing how small that caliper is.
But it's weird though. But on top of that, it's like I know this is the bleeder screw. This is the other screw that's supposed to connect to. But where the fuck does it actually insert into?
Through the screw you're holding, genius.
Yeah, but
the brake hose
goes
to that nut.
Yeah, stupidity moment. The doohickey one screws in
Folks,
there.
this is what we call a gray hair moment for us older folks.
And I've got white hairs in my beard.
You're
You're blonde anyway, so
Deal with it.
You're orange. Wait.
It's an orange tabby cat. Look at this. 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 It is some gray in there. All of America just saw it.
That makes more sense. All right, so we have everything that we need. We have the tools. We have these, and of course our nice little dinky winky pads.
That can go on bikes. Now, if you ever wonder as to
Keep them down here. I get better light.
Now, if you're ever wondering as to which pad goes where, just line them up like this, as if they're going to go on. The wear indicator always goes on the inside, which someone would say towards the inside of the car. And of course, the one without it is towards the outside of the car. So it just sits just like that. Another thing that the old man mentioned to me, that I should have mentioned also, that when you take these off right here, your sliders, you can actually take them off, clean up all the oil, grease here, and take a wire wheel and you can just clean them all up.
If they're rusty and sticky.
If they're rusty and sticky, yes. If they're rusty and sticky. Obviously, these are really nice and pretty here. They're not rusted at all. And sometimes if these are good, but the rubbers here,
the garments?
No, they're boots.
It's just a boot.
It's just a boot. You can actually take these on that and go over to AutoZone or something like that and get new ones. Or at any auto parts store. They're really easy. You can usually get those with a kit. So we have we have our new rotor hub thingy. We have our new shim sliders. We have our new caliper bracket, new brake pads. Now, usually with the brake pads, they come with these this nice fancy one-use grease stuff for them. That's wonderful, but we're not going to use it. But it does the exact same thing as this stuff right here on caliper grease. You can get this at any auto parts store. And it has a diagram on there as to what you can actually put it on. So actually it's self-explanatory as to what you can use it on. So we're going to use this one because it's nice. It's decently high grade also. So we're going to turn to our rotor now. When you look at the rotor, again, you're going to have the wonderful set screw in there. And you'll see that rubber piece there that right there is so that on the rear brakes you can actually adjust adjust and possibly take off if you have to work on them your parking brake. So when we take the rotor off, you'll see the parking brake in there. That's why it's a goofy. That looks goofy because the parking brake is on the inside of that rotor. Why not? So go ahead and take off the set screw.
Here, hold that.
Uh-huh.
So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get a Phillips screwdriver, put it in here, take a rubber mallet, and I need to stand up for this because there's nothing over here.
Oh, that's a big ass. I know.
Okay, ignore the Yahoo behind me. So you're gonna take it,
Give it a few whacks.
and then in theory it should. Just come off. In theory.
Let me put the parking brake on so I don't fall down. Did you get it?
Yep, got it.
Okay, never mind.
Then you just unscrew it like this. Move closer to the top. You just take it out. That just makes it easier for you to take the rotor off if it's easy. Otherwise, I'm going to take my rubber mallet here from the back. And just take it off like that. So this garment piece here, that we were explaining for the parking brake, you're just going to take this off and apply it to the new drummer rotor.
So as you can see on that, the parking brake is in there. On that, you can actually check the life of your parking brake, the shoes, while you're doing this. So, and it looks like those should be replaced soon, but not right away. Why not? Those can go for another quite a long more time. Parking brake, the shoes aren't always a needed thing to replace all the time. You probably should replace those like once, I don't know, once in a great while. Why not? Unless you're using your parking brake a whole lot, then you should replace them regularly. Alright, so now that that's off, why not? We're going to then start taking off the caliper, why not? Before we put anything else on.
I'm just reapplying the parking brake rubber piece back to this one so we don't lose it if you happen to take it off ahead of time. And it's being stubborn. There we go.
Sounds like we need to help with carry food.